peace and tranquility in your world, well, there seems to be a lot of different things going on. So I'm going to just let you introduce yourself a little bit, Joe, and tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do.
Well, my name is Joanne Bean, and my business name is Asani Healing. Um, my spirit name is Sleeping Buffalo Woman, Haniti Sutini Tsika. I've also been given the spirit name White Eagle Woman, Wagyaskan, from a Stony Elder in Morley. And I offer a huge variety. I've been in the healing arts for a long time, since probably the 90s, I guess. Maybe before that. I was, even in my first jobs at 16 years old, I was the one they were pet shops, and I was the one bringing home the animals that needed intensive care, the high maintenance ones, and would patch them up and give them the extra medicines or whatever they needed, and then bring them back like a few days later, a week later, and they would be sold in the pet shop. And so I guess that, I started.
And you're continuing that on now.
Yes, I'm going back to that, doing foster care.
Yeah.
For Misty Creek dog rescue.
Mm-hmm. So you also, I know you have a huge amount of courses or things that you also do, like just the healing. It's not just one form of healing either. You actually do a registered massage therapist also.
That's right.
So there's physical and spiritual and emotional healing that happens through Asani Healing. So we're going to focus on and also with music, right? And there's a lot of healing that's to be had with music.
Yeah, with drumming, I do I facilitate drum circles, healing circles, and community drumming type circles with the djembes and a variety of drums.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been involved in healing modalities most of my life, on and off. I've done a lot of retail in there as well, working with the public. And you can almost come out of that after 20 years of retail with a degree in psychology.
Yes, yeah, all kinds of things that people...
Face-to-face. But yeah, then my interest turned more to focusing on the healing arts. I started with massage therapy in the 90s and went into Reiki. I've done level 1, level 2, master teacher, and polarity, Tibetan energy work. 2008, I became involved. I finally found an First Nations teacher, an elder from Morley, and then a Blackfoot elder that I worked with for 2 years in Sutina. And apprenticed basically, did over 200 sweat lodges in a 2-year period. So learned a lot of the songs, how to pray, and how to really pick the right words when you're praying, also, and asking for the help that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for instance, when, like, just to touch on that for anything, when you ask for a prayer, this is one thing that we hear regularly in the sweat lodge, because I like to attend as many sweat lodges as possible. And I really enjoy the healing and the transformation that comes from each lodge. But the asking for strength or asking for, what would you say if I said I need strength?
I probably would sort of rephrase that. I kind of translate to spirit, and people, usually they'll pass tobacco at that time, and that they make their requests of spirit, and I will hold the tobacco and press their prayers onto it, and sort of when I would translate that into spirit, what you really want. Because you may get what you ask for, and asking for strength, you're basically, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You're asking for challenges to prove to yourself just how strong you really are.
So if you're the lion and you ask for courage, you may end up getting things that make you courageous.
That's right.
Things that you would never want to happen.
That's right.
But once it does happen, it makes you stronger. It gives you courage. So you would be careful maybe to ask for something like simple, like guidance.
Yes. Asking for guidance, asking for direction, asking for the right information to come through for you, to be directed to that information.
Right.
Give you the right
So
answers.
a lot of people right now I find are, well, in panic mode, and I think that we need to address the fact that people are still okay. That we are still okay, that society is really no different today than it was a month ago, that we can still carry on and still live. We don't have to be living in complete fear. I think people are seeing so much fear in the world that we need to help them to realize that you can still have peace every day and not have to listen to everything that's going on and be consumed by it.
Yeah.
I think people are being consumed by fear right now, and I want to help them. So that's.
Well, that's it. The other day I posted a picture. I didn't have a very busy day at work, so I took advantage of the unscheduled day off because I often will work sometimes 7 days a week. So when I have an extra day off, then that's not really planned. I'll take advantage of that. And I posted pictures of my dogs and my cat, like just chilling out, like relaxing, sleeping. Like be like this, like, you know, I planned my garden, I got my seeds organized, and yesterday I took the time to get all my seeds planted, you know, start my
See the upside.
indoor greenhouse. You know, we're expecting a storm this weekend, you know, batten down, stay off the roads, like it's just due diligence.
Common sense, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, wash your hands. But we have always had big storms before the end of winter. Like, there's always, I don't remember ever having a year where we didn't get a big blowout storm. So I'm really hoping this weekend is our big storm, and then we can really kind of pack winter away for the rest of the year. That would be great.
Well, hopefully, and then, you know, come out of this weekend with all our food cooked for the rest of the week. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Like,
idea.
And then, you know, and when it is nicer out, then we can take advantage of that too.
Right. So what we're focusing on is a little bit of inner peace. How does when they are feeling all of this bombardment, I would say, from the government and from news places that are saying that all of these things that are, you know, really fear-mongering everybody. How would you, besides, I guess, planting your garden, starting your seeds, doing things regularly, enjoying, you know, your family time, you know, maybe it's a good time to start enjoying family instead of being out and about everywhere. But on a spiritual level, an inside level, what do you suggest people do to release this fear that they have going on?
I started smudging diligently every day, praying, putting my tobacco down, and asking for what I need to get through my day if there's something coming up. But smudging is something that is very calming. I light my smudge and instantly I feel centered. It's instantly grounding. It's instantly helps me to start clearing. And then when I go into my prayer with that, it really helps to ground and just release and dismiss whatever is coming up. I unplug everything. Unplug your microwave, unplug the TV if you're not using it, unplug your Wi-Fi. You know, if you're not using it, unplug it. You know, just disconnect. Stop looking at social media. Stop looking at the news. Just go within. Go within your house. Go within your own family, and take care of what you need to do. Bring it home. Bring it a little closer to home. And we know that this is out there, so due diligence. You know, being sensible. Meditations. Taking time. If you're going to be home extra time, you know, if you end up, you know, if we all end up battening down for a couple of weeks, like to ride this out, you know, there'd be lots of time to catch up on all those little projects that are causing anxiety because they're unfinished business all over the place. I know myself, I have several different little things going on between quilts and, you know, painting the walls and cleaning, spring cleaning.
So we're taking this fear and turning it into, great, I might actually have some time to get to doing things for self-development.
That's right.
So I believe that we are all going through a period of self-development, self-recognition, an awakening really of our spirit is kind of coming up. So this is kind of giving you that little bit of time to really focus in on yourself and what's going on within instead of everything outside. I think it's a good time to focus on what's going on inside.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're just gonna. Are you ready to play a tune for us? I was wondering if you had a couple of songs that maybe just to put us in the mood to maybe relax a little bit and stop worrying about the world. Do you have a song prepared for us today?
Well, I'm careful about what songs I share. Some songs are readily available on YouTube already. They've already been shared openly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some songs that I have that are my own songs that are were gifted to me personally. So
Mm-hmm.
those ones I don't have a problem sharing.
There's no copyright.
No. And a lot of these songs, the songs that came from the Sweat Lodge and the elders that I apprentice with, a lot of them are sacred songs, and they're
Right.
they're not meant for public use. They're healing songs meant to be used in ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
in a very respectful way, and I have to honor that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few that already have been shared, like I say, on YouTube. They're available, in a very easily accessible way.
Yeah, I really think that the way the world is going right now, that this kind of information needs to be brought out. I really think that the healing that's involved, like even with the Sweat Lodge, I know that you have mixed emotions about sharing what goes on at the Sweat Lodge. I know a lot of past beliefs or traditional beliefs are kind of against women having their own sweat lodge a little. I've had experience with some people telling me that shouldn't be, but because this is another thing that I mentioned, that it being International Women's Day was on Sunday, is when I realized that one of my strongest people that I know is Joanne, and I think it's important that you embrace that you're a woman and you have power and you've been gifted all of these wonderful songs. And I think it's beautiful that you share. And I think you should have a great deal of pride. And I think that removing the anxiety from it is a good idea for you too. Just what I'm thinking.
Like I say, there's a fine line between being respectful of traditions,
right,
and sharing your gifts, because gifts were given to us to share. That's what
right.
we're meant to do. Two things.
Mm-hmm.
When I was taught that the Creator wants two things from us: to be happy,
mm-hmm.
and to use our gifts to help one another.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you access your gifts is to let go of all those low vibrational emotions and baggage. So the fears, the anger, the frustration, the judgments, all the disappointments, all that negative self-talk, and all of those things that are like ball and chain that weighs us down and really slows down our progress.
Mm-hmm.
When we start clipping those chains and embracing more love and compassion and forgiveness in our lives, then it's like helium balloons that lifts our spirits and helps us to ascend, to raise our vibrations and improve ourselves. And then we end up manifesting greater, better things. And as we change our vibration, we stop attracting those low vibrational experiences and start, really experiencing what we're meant to achieve.
And I think that that's important, that we do realize that we are powerful inside. Mm-hmm. And that we have energy within us that's wanting to, I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we've lived many lives. I believe that our inside, our life within us has many things to teach us. And when we suppress who we are through fear or through self-doubt or through, whatever excuse we want to give ourselves on why we can't expand. Maybe, we were taught that as a kid, oh, don't think that, or don't say that, or that's woo-woo, bad stuff. But really, if we are these beings of light, which I do believe we are, I believe that that light is starting to shine within us, and we're going to have to accept it. And when we don't, we have resistance, and we have stress, and we have things, because what's inside is trying to come out. I find this in a lot of people who don't know much about the spiritual realms or anything, but they know that there's something with them that wants to learn about it. And when you start teaching them, it's just like there's like this light that got switched on, and now all of a sudden they're channeling, and they're getting messages and feeling better about themselves, and their worlds are changing.
And sometimes that can come on quite suddenly in a very profound way.
Yeah.
You know, people have had, they call it Kundalini awakenings, through all kinds of different, ways. Like even from a chiropractic adjustment can trigger something. Meditation can trigger things. Yoga, all different. It can sort of, when we're ready, it sort of pops.
Right.
when it's ready to start opening up. And some people, it can be very overwhelming, and then they come to people like you and me to help learn some management skills, because really succeeding with using your gifts, just sometimes you need someone to hold space for you to help sort it out, because it can be a little overwhelming at first. And so that's where, when we do healing work, it's not that I'm healing somebody, I'm helping them to realize the gifts within themselves. So by holding space for them to release some of the negative blocks that are in their way, that opens up that door for them to, it's like a sculpture. When an artist sees a block of wood or a block of marble, and they start chipping away, they can see within it the spirit of what it is that that they eventually will create.
That's
and
beautiful.
they chip away all the pieces that don't belong. So say that's anger, and say that's frustration, say that's self-doubt, say it's fear, whatever it is. And so that when you're finally finished with the piece, you've chipped away all the pieces that don't belong, and you're left with this magnificent, beautiful, gorgeous piece of art. And that's sort of the same way it is with us.
Well, that's a very beautiful way to put it, that, even if we look at ourselves as that piece of wood, or ourselves as that piece of stone, and that we are the artist creating who we are.
Yes.
And that there's things that need to be chipped away, and there's things that need to be polished, and there's things that we need to do within ourselves. And nobody else can do that work for us. We have to do the work.
That's right.
And Joanne is somebody who facilitates places where transformation happens quite rapidly. Oh, excuse me, within an hour or two. Actually, a sweat lodge, I believe, is like 4 hours about. Hey, it's usually,
It's about
depending on how many people are in the room.
3 hours for the ceremony itself, and then followed by potluck.
Yeah, so
4 rounds of 4 songs, little
so
breaks in between.
so your first round then, let's just talk about the sweat lodge a little bit. Because that is really where I find an extreme transformation every time. Like, I can feel the difference between, say somebody has died, or somebody has broken my heart, or somebody has treated me terribly, or I have, a fallen out with a friend, or something has happened in my life, and I'm stressed out. This happens regularly. And I'll go to the sweat lodge, and I just listen to the music and take part in what's going on. And really nothing, I'm not really saying anything. I'm just listening to what you're saying, and singing along with the songs. So, can you explain what the first round is like?
Well, I was taught in the Blackfoot, I'll say non-tradition, because traditionally Blackfoot, from what I've been told, the Blackfoot women were not involved in the sweat lodge ceremony. It was a male experience. The elders that I learned from and apprenticed with obviously had different views on that. They invited. It was a very open lodge, open ceremony. It was open to Indigenous people, non-Indigenous people, male and female, children. It wasn't traditionally like just a family unit. It was open to outsiders. So right off the hop, it was, we started off a little different. So that's why.
Yeah, because
So it's traditional teachings, but sort of in a non-traditional setting.
was that on the res?
That was in Sutina, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started off in going to lodges in Sutina and Morley and the Stony elders there.
Mhm.
But for 2 years was with Sutina mostly.
Mhm. So they must have seen something very special in you to pass on.
Well,
That,
because I already had a background in massage therapy and energy work through craniosacral, which is another modality that I didn't mention before, that I've been doing since the 90s, and Reiki and the Tibetan energy work, I already had a real strong understanding of the energy work.
Right.
And so once I started working with these elders, I realized there was a lot of similarity in the way that they did their healing and what I was already doing. I was actually gifted my first eagle fan within about 4 months of going to lodge because I did a healing on the elder. And it was a profound shift for him. And it was I did a hands-on healing at the ceremony and then followed it up with distance healing from my house using a pendulum the next day, and then on the third day he called me and and asked him like, "Oh, how's your knee feel today?" And he goes, "Why?" And he said, "It's pretty good." And I'm like, "Well, because I did some work on you yesterday after my shift at work. I did some." He said, "What time?" I said, "Oh, about 2:00." And he said, "Well, around 2:00 I was at my desk in my office and I kind of nodded off. I fell asleep. When I woke up, my knee pain was gone." So
Wow.
He gifted me an eagle fan, which is a great honor.
Yes, because you earned it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was a healing tool to help. I call it like it's almost like an emotional squeegee. It carries a very high vibration, the vibration of love. And so when you sweep it over someone, it sweeps away anything less than love. So it's I've actually felt it. It just feels like you're wiping off sludge.
It does, and it feels like the sludge is being wiped off of you too when it comes over you within the lodge too. Like, I'm not sure if you're talking about the same fan or the same eagle, which you use in the lodge.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that when we're praying and it comes over, it's usually quite emotional. It's very emotional. So let's go with the first. We're in the first round.
So the lodge starts out. It's everything is based in 4. So the first round is about forgiveness. So we forgive ourselves for everything, for hearts we've broken, for harsh words we've spoken, for judgments that we've passed, for words that we held back that might have made a difference to someone. The chocolate bar you stole as a kid, everything. We forgive ourselves and we forgive everybody else for what they've done to us that may have caused us pain, heartache.
I think a lot of us actually cause a lot of our own grief with the self-judgment that we hold against ourselves. And I think forgiving ourselves for allowing ourselves to feel like victims is something that I use regularly in my healing, is because a lot of people feel victimized. They feel like, oh, this happened to me, and now they're living in that emotional state that something happened to them. But I always encourage them to forgive themselves for allowing themselves to feel like a victim.
Forgiving ourselves for being unforgiving,
Yeah.
for holding on to some things. It's like, I've heard the expression, like, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's like that. The forgiveness has really nothing to do with the other person. It's absolving yourself of letting go and releasing the suffering that you're carrying. And it doesn't excuse, it doesn't mean that you embrace that person who did that to you or that hurt you. There still may be very valid reasons for healthy boundaries.
Yes.
In your life. And
keep the lessons.
Exactly.
Keep the lessons.
You take everything that experiences that happen to us are there to teach us. And we signed up for this before we came into physical life. We've all, if you look at the Akashic Records, which is a record of our lives and everything that we've planned, we've sat down in spirit and had a conversation just like this. and decided that, okay, you're going to help me learn this part, and I'm going to teach you this, or I'm going to help you to learn this. And then we get born into these physical bodies in this lifetime, and we forget all that. And so that life plays out, and we bump into each other, and lo and behold, we help each other to achieve different awareness and raise our level of self-love, really, is what it's about.
And self-forgiveness too, because people come into our lives who may absolutely feel like they're tormenting us by bringing out every little thing that we could have ever done wrong. But then it also surfaces to us to release that energy. Oh, maybe I was doing that wrong. That's right. And maybe I can become a better person now. Thank you. And rather than holding grudges or taking it personal and feeling like I'm going to be damaged for the rest of my life because of what you said to me. And I think some people will say something to somebody intentionally trying to hurt them, and that person will allow that hurt to resonate rather than taking that as a time to grow. I think that if somebody says something to you that hurts, you can use that as an energy to grow. You can use that, rather than using that as an energy to take you down, you can use it as an energy to bring you up. Because you have to overcome it, is the thing that I'm finding.
And to come to peace with it.
Yeah.
And bring it to a place of love and forgiveness. That's the bottom line. So that first round is all about that. It's giving us opportunity. So while everyone is praying and having a chat with Spirit about what they need to let go of, what they need to come to peace with. I'll be singing the 4 songs, and sometimes people will join in if they know the songs, if the songs come to them. That can happen too. You may never have heard a song before, and then all of a sudden you're singing along, drumming along, or rattling along, and without any kind of explanation, because it's very spiritual driven. It's Spirit is helping. Spirit is guiding the whole thing.
So we also invite, in the first round, your ancestors and the people, the Spirit on the other side. Is that the second round? Okay, well, let's talk about the second round then.
In the second round is the request round. So we would smoke the pipe usually at the beginning, and then we honor the pipe and invite in
the peace pipe.
Yeah. and then people would make their offerings of tobacco and state what they're there for, what they need help with, and
So in that, we go around the circle, and of course there's always rules and etiquette. I find that but that it's such a group effort when you express what you need within a group, and everybody has the same intentions for you. Like not only, it feels like there's a lot of power in the room. It's like you're not dealing with it on your own anymore. You're actually having a group of people who are really rooting for you and praying for you, and the energy is there for you. Your guides is there for you, and if you open up, it makes a profound difference.
Yes, and allowing yourself to express your vulnerability, expose your vulnerabilities, can really help others to open up, and it might even trigger them to release something that they've been carrying, and help them to open up. So being, really encouraging to be your authentic self, to speak honestly and truly from your heart, and in a loving and supportive community that's a safe, sacred environment. So it's quite, you're talking to the Creator, you're speaking to the one who made you.
And did we mention that we're in complete blackness at this time?
And usually dripping sweat.
Yes. We forgot to mention that when we go into the sweat lodge. It's completely... What happens when you go in? We go in. You go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the lodge itself is made... the frame is made from willows, and that represents the ribs. And... there's a pit in the middle of the floor. The grandfathers are heated in a sacred fire outside and brought into the lodge several at a time. And then the door is closed, and we splash water on the rocks that has medicine boiled into it. And so it has a medicinal steam. And within a few moments, you're pretty much, your pores are open and you're dripping.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. It's a purification ceremony.
It's extracting.
Yeah. Water is the element of emotion. And we're working with all of the elements in this ceremony. We're heating the rocks that come from Mother Earth in a fire. We're working with water to help us, to facilitate us to open up our pores and release water at the same time that we're praying to let go of negative emotions. So that's all.
Mm-hmm. It's not only emotional, it's also a physical release.
That's right.
So there's that combination of, you can go and have people pray for you and you have that emotional release, but this is also including a physical release along with it. It's amazing, really. So with the healing, we bring in the stones, and we call those, you mentioned you bring in the grandfathers. Well, just so you know, we're not bringing in little old men. We're bringing in stones. And how do you go about getting your stones?
Well, I live in a rural area in southern Alberta, so
Mhm.
there are lots of piles of rocks that are available on the
Mhm.
back roads. Drive around the back roads. And some of them are on clients' land, and I'll make a request
Mhm.
to select some rocks.
Mm-hmm. And I know that just out, not too far from where you live, there is a 5,000-year-old, they say it's about 5,000 years old, medicine wheel. So I feel that our ground and our land around here is a little sacred also. I mean, it's much, much older than what we believe.
There are more medicine wheels in southern Alberta than are mapped or
Absolutely.
people are aware of. I've had clients who, through massage and energy work, that have told me that on their acreage that their kids have found, or when they farm their land, they found, and usually they're always on the top of a highest hill in the area, so they're typically not disturbed, because it's not great to be driving your tractor up on the top of a high point of land.
Right. It's dry also. The rain,
Yeah.
the water kind of comes off. It's not the best. I don't know much about farming, actually.
Yeah, but like I live near Carmagate, and there's the Sundial Hill Medicine Wheel,
Mhm.
just east of Carmagate. Then there's the huge one at Majorville. It's
Mhm.
very, very
Major.
ancient and powerful. It's energy.
Yeah, I was seeing a thing this week on Facebook that was saying that they found an area that they believe to be much older than the pyramids on one of the islands just off Vancouver. That they have the pottery, and they have, it kind of changes everything, that, there was people living here before the pyramids were built. So, and the carbon dating, because they actually found things that had been on fire, and fire pits and
Right.
cooking utensils and everything, and found that these things. So we are living in a very ancient area, and I did have somebody ask me recently what they felt, that there was a sacred energy around southern Alberta, that they were actually came here to southern Alberta because they could feel that there was an ancient energy here. And I think that when you're tapping into that energy that we have here, it's powerful. And it's one of the reasons I do Deb Stan, is because I feel that there is so much here to learn, and we're just kind of getting into it now. I mean, that people are coming here, and there's a lot of power here. And when you focus your power and energy, there could be a lot of healing here. And that's what we want. We want people to focus in on the healing and the positive energy that is, whether it be a vortex or whatever it might be in this area. But there is some form of energy within us here, and I can't wait for the day when they find this great energy port in southern Alberta here.
Well, there's something I need to share about myself as well that I didn't mention in the intro, is that I am Métis of Cree descent, and the teachings that I follow are Blackfoot. I searched for a very long time to find a teacher, and in 2008 I met that teacher, and that led to opening up this pathway for me to the spiritual realm, really. And since then, I've done a lot of studies in Asha through the Spiritualist Center in their um, the Alberta Spiritual Healers Association.
And I find that is one of the most incredible energy
Right.
sources.
What I found was there was a lot of parallels. There was several activities that we did that were exactly the same as the teachings I had through the First Nations elders. So my background is Métis,
Mm-hmm.
Cree descent. My grandmother was Cree, and from northern Manitoba, and it's those ancestors that are guiding me in this work, and this is what my elders recognized in me right off.
Right.
That's what they saw. So it's not some. I'm not just some average Joe.
She's an average Joe. No,
I'm not an average Joe.
no, she's not an average.
Who's, just figuring that I can do this because there's a tremendous amount of responsibility in taking this on as well.
Mm-hmm.
In being a pipe carrier, you're taking on the suffering for your whole community. You're taking on the responsibility of holding space for whoever of your community needs your help. So it's not to be taken lightly. It's not to be played around with. I know I've had people come in and say, "Oh, I could do this," and that can lead to a lot of disaster and people can get hurt. So it's something to be very respectful with and to be regarded with great responsibility.
Well, I know that you say, and when people are asking me about it, I tell them, well, you just go there and you bring all your garbage and just dump it with Joe, and then you feel a lot better when you leave. It's great. It's a great place to dump your garbage. That's Joe right. handles it, and it's and of course our guides in spirit that are welcomed in, and your spiritual guides that come in and help and protect and create a safe space for it to transform. I think to transform energy is energy, I believe. So even when you're pulling out negative energy, we transform that into positive, into lessons, into love, into growth, rather than sad, fear, sorrow. It becomes something much greater. Yeah.
Well, my teachers worked in the prison. They were the spiritual leads in the prison in Bowden, and they used to tell me that the teaching is you don't focus on what you don't want. You don't, even as somebody who was had done horrible things, they have great talents and gifts inside. So what they would do in healing somebody is focus on the positive. You always look for the positive. You look for that spark of light and you nourish the light. It's like the story of the two wolves that live inside us. And the little boy asks his grandfather, that there's
which one's going to live?
Yeah, which one is going to win? He was worried. He was, oh my gosh, there's two wolves living inside us, and one is good and one is evil. Well, which one wins? And the grandfather said, well, the one that you feed.
Right.
So
don't feed into fear right now, people.
Yeah.
I mean.
So you want to look at the gratitudes about this is that it's giving us time to go within, to clean up some of those loose ends of projects that we have on the go, to spend more time with family and, share with them some of, spend the time to teach them how to make pie. Like, like my granddaughters wanted to do that last time they came to visit on the family day week. One of them really wanted to make pie. So I'm like, okay, we got my mom's recipe for pastry.
Wow. That's precious.
Yeah.
That is, it might seem like we're just making pie, but it's not. You're sharing.
That's
and
right.
They're learning, and those moments they'll never forget. And I think it's also an opportunity for people to realize those people who have hurt them and forgive them. Maybe make that phone call now and make your peace. And, it's a great opportunity to have this idea that we can change. We're ready for change. We're ready to let it go and to let go of the fears that we hold. So then we move into the third round.
Yes, the third round in this type of lodge is a healing round. So usually we have everybody turn around and have their backs to the pit of us, of grandfathers, and I'll actively work on people doing energy work, healing work during that round while singing the songs. Or hopefully there's someone else who can sing and drum, so it frees up me, my hands, so that I can actually do some hands-on healing during that round. And the songs that we sing are the healing songs, calling in the spirit of the bear, for example, or the buffalo hide that's wrapped around people, and they're doctored through the hide with the eagle fan and the rattle.
My favorite is the children's song.
And the children's song.
Because I always ask for healing for the children. They have so much that they're going through with society and things that we never had to deal with. I mean, not in the extreme ways that they have with social media and just belief patterns that are changing and things that are evolving for us, and the decisions that they have to make. So I always like to pray for the children. So just sending out some love and healing to kids today too.
Yeah, all the kids and the children in our lives, the children who are suffering with terminal illness, the children that have come into this world with addictions, the children in foster care, the children who are separated from their families, and that inner child within us. That is where a lot of our deepest, darkest traumas come from, is traumatic experiences, frights, terrors, things that happened to us when we were young, situations that came up that made us feel inferior or not strong enough, not good enough, not, that we didn't have a voice.
Or even somebody just doing something to us, traumatizing us, abusing us, or something even just happening within our family. That so, these young children don't have the skills, and I think that we should be teaching these children skills on how to deal and release with this, with the things that they have to do with, rather than trying to guide them. I think we should teach them to release them. And I think that's important. That's going on too. Exactly. That's a whole show, to be honest, and we to go with that too. So during the healing session, that's usually the most emotional round for me, where when you're purging, really you're purging all of that anxiety.
And it's often quite intense. It feels a lot hotter.
It gets hot.
It's usually short and sweet, but to the point. And it's easy to pray for other people. And I mean, the first round can be tough for some people to forgive the past.
Yeah.
They get stuck on that one situation that's a little, a little more sensitive than others to release and let go. But we're encouraged to do so. Second round, you're praying for your family. You're praying for other people. That's a little easier. People can focus their attentions outside of themselves. And then the third round is really, getting down to business. This is where we have the opportunity to ask for the healing that we need for ourselves, whether that be emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical. And that's facilitated, and helped along that process with hands-on healing by myself.
And that's really looking in the mirror and saying, what's wrong with me? I want to change. I want to release it, and I really find that once you bear down and realize that there's something wrong, and you're ready to release it, once you acknowledge that you're in a place that's safe and you're ready to release it because you're there, obviously you're not going to hold on to stuff, and if you do, that's when it gets hot. When I find if you're trying to hold down emotions that are trying to come up,
what you resist persists. So when you hold it in and you try to not express and you choke it back and you hold it in, you'll tend to feel anxious. You'll get tight in your chest. You'll feel that anxiety coming up, and that's usually something that's ready to let go and that you're just holding on to. So I can help facilitate that and take away that anxiety. Basically just spiritually just pluck it, pluck it, and just from the chest, and just release, help you let that go, and move on, let it go, it's done. And
it's amazing that it just goes when you allow it to go. That spirit will do that for you.
But when we really pray hard, and we're encouraged to pray, really pray hard out loud, just pray from your heart and ask for what you need. The harder you pray, the easier it gets. The more that you send your energy out, and ask for commune with the Creator, the less suffering you go through, the less you feel the heat.
Mm.
So.
It's still warm.
Oh yeah,
but,
it's warm.
but
You're dripping sweat.
and so just like anything else in life, the more that you resist, the harder it is. So when something bad happens to you, really feel that something unfair, something bad has happened. Maybe embrace that, let you feel it, and then say, okay, you've had your time. It's time to let it go. Thank you for the love and lessons.
Yeah, and people are like, how do I let it go? And it's just like, I get them, pick up a pencil. Hold that pencil tight in your hand. Now open up your fingers and drop it. It's just like that. It really is.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
You really need to experience. But the one thing that's really cool is that you also do distant healing.
Yes.
So not only you don't always have to go right to this very point. You can also call a light worker or an energy worker and have the distant healing happen also. And that's really
through both Reiki,
spirit and time.
Through both
Mm-hmm.
with both Reiki, it can be done in distance,
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual healing can be done at a distance as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like tuning in your cell phone. When I call your cell phone, I dial your number, I get your phone.
Right.
I don't get some other random person's phone. I get,
Right through the airways, right through the airways.
Yeah, because
And it's just like
frequency. And so it's frequency. When I, know what you look like, or know your name, or the person who I'm praying for and sending healing to, it's focusing on that and just sending your attentions to that frequency, that person. And
Mm-hmm.
I work more with spiritual helpers. They're already in spirit. They, I have a lot of helpers around me,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just waiting. They're lined up waiting to assist and looking for the opportunity to help.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And when you make that appointment, Spirit knows that you've made that appointment. You've made that arrangement to be there at that moment in time, no matter where you are in space and time. Spirit knows that they're to be there, and that's something that isn't with space and time. That is something that is a spiritual commitment, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very powerful. And I think that where we are right now, we need to focus our energy on what we want and not what we fear. And we want growth. We want transformation. We want happiness. We want,
Yeah, peace of mind and freedom to travel and
Mhm.
Financial blessings, right?
Can you believe we're almost out of time already? So let's just talk about the last round.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we'll get a treat with a song for our meditation. Deb's Den always has a meditation at the end. And once again, thank you for watching Jess FM. This is Deb from Deb's Den. And this is my guest, Joanne Bean from Asani Healing. And we'll leave a link in the credits or in the bottom posts. And you'll be able to contact Jo there if you want. But let's talk about the last round here for just a couple of minutes.
So the fourth round is the gratitude round. It's a thank you round. And this is where we give thanks to everything and everybody who's participated and shared in this experience. We thank all the spirits that have helped work with us. We thank each other. We thank our firekeeper. We thank our four-legged friends that may have been waiting patiently for 3 hours out in the yard or in their kennels or wherever they are. We thank the children if we were blessed to have children at the lodge. We thank everybody. We thank our teachers that provided these teachings, that shared these songs. We thank everybody.
Mm-hmm. We thank everybody in the lodge who's participated and for their energy that they have brought in, and the learning and the lessons that they have brought in, and their prayers of support for us also. Not only do we release our stuff, but we also give support to those other people in the lodge, and it's a beautiful thing. So then there's that important part. Maybe we'll save that important last part for after your song, when we take the energy and bring it back.
Mm.
Are you ready for a little tune?
Mm-hmm. Well, you've mentioned a few of them.
So you know what? You're gonna channel and do the one that's meant to be, and we have no worry about which one it's supposed to be because it's gonna come out, right?
Well, there's this one is an Anishinaabe song, and it was developed in Ontario. It came from Ontario. This honors all the strong women, being that this is International Women's Week Day.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll call it International Women's Week. I'm just gonna go on YouTube with this.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
there's been a lot of postings. You know, it's International Women's Day. There's Mother's Day coming up. It's not for another 2 months, but and this, but this also honors Mother Earth,
right?
In a way. But this song is for all the strong women.
Okay. We take that energy.
That's to honor all the strong women out there. All of us entered this world through a strong woman, so you know at least one.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for our mothers and the Mother Earth. And all of the beautiful energy that is given to the earth, and that we are praying for the earth and expanding that energy. How would you finish the lodge now? I know there's a way. I want you to do it. How you bring the energy in when you send a prayer. Can you say a prayer for everybody here today, Joe?
Absolutely. Well, when I say this prayer, I honor. I say this prayer to go into the lodge, but this kind of encompasses everything.
Right.
Napasuduki spamokanan, ayugakimais devadavu ach ken skagonapsi, I chanitisatinitsika. Ask for your blessing, your guidance, your protection for all those who are out there listening to this show, all those who are involved in the production of this show. Bless them, watch over them, guide them and protect them, and help them in their journeys to move forward in a good way. Okay, Napina Dosiwa, the old man's son. Gipidaki, the old lady of the moon, because in some areas it's already nighttime. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Bless them, bless us, watch over us, guide us and protect us, and help us in our journeys to move forward in a good way. Guide us always on a path of love, forgiveness, kindness, and compassion, guiding our steps. Gipidaki, we ask that you watch over us as we sleep, bring us good dreams, help us to be better people when we wake up in the morning and start a new day. Okay, Natuit peace, the Holy Spirits, all the good spirits, the grandmothers, the grandfathers, the ancestors, the ancient ones. We ask for you to watch over us, to bless us, to guide us and protect us, and help us in our journeys to move forward in a good way. We ask that you send away the Magapi, send away the Sadapi, and help us to let go of what no longer serves our highest good, and to be open to receiving the love and the healing that we need to move ourselves forward in a good way. Napi Iniwa, White Buffalo, Sacred Spirit, Spirit of the North, Spirit of Wisdom, guide us, protect us, watch over us, help us to use our gifts and talents wisely, that we may honor our teachers, our ancestors, Mother Earth, and the Creator. You know, if anything, our teachers, if they're listening, should be proud of what we're sharing, because we're reflecting well that we were listening to them, we were paying attention in class.
And making a
So to
difference.
speak. Yes, and putting them to good use.
Mm-hmm.
So I pray for everybody for peace of mind and for happiness, for joy, for good health.
For good health.
Good health and financial abundance. You know, that we all have what we need to make it through the day. And love and support from families, from couples, for couples. That everybody increases their togetherness with love and compassion, forgiveness, understanding, and support for one another as we move forward.
And then
Napastaduki Spamopina, which means help us.
help us.
Creator.
Creator, help us. Help us through all of these turmoils that we're getting through, and know that there's peace on the other side and that we're going to be okay. So now I'm going to take that prayer that you said for us, and I want you out there too, if you're watching, to take that prayer, and you can finish it. Whatever am I doing with my hand up? I'm going to bring it in, right? When somebody prays for you and somebody asks and says and wishes you good things, I want you to take that energy and bring that in. And just pull it into your heart and say, thank you, Joe, and thank you, Spirit, and thank you, angels, for everything, for the peace of mind, for the healing, for the confidence, and for the guidance that we all need to get through each and every day. And we are getting close to that time. Joe, do you want to just give us a little bit about who you are and again and how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my name is Joanne Bean, and my business is Asani Healing. You can find me at www.asanihealing.com, or my email, if you want to contact me, is info@asanihealing.com. My phone number is 403-485-5774, and I'm a massage therapist, I'm an energy healer, and I do lots of different modalities from craniosacral, Reiki, and spiritual healing, as well as massage and a whole host of spa treatments as well.
And facilitating a sweat lodge.
Yeah, I facilitate sweat lodges, healing circles, house blessings, and I teach Reiki. I teach workshops in setting healthy boundaries in your emotions and your health. There's lots of different things.
There's lots. We'd be here like a half an hour if we listed off of all of Joe's wonderful talents and those things that you do. We'll leave a link in the thing there. And again, I am Deb, your host for this hour. Thank you for tuning in. This is Deb's Den, and I'll see you next week. And with everybody else, I just want to extend a very great thank you. Thank you to Jess for Jess FM. The views and points of Deb's Den are those of mine alone. And if you don't like them, you feel free to look them up and find your own truths if you like. Take what you want, leave what you don't. That's fine with me. I want to thank Brent Cutforth for being our cameraman and the producer on this end over here also helping me. And I just want to send everybody out right now a great big thank you and a huge amount of love and blessings to everyone. Have a fantastic week. See you again soon.
Thanks, Dan.